Hi there guys. So today we're going to be tackling a little subject of mine that is one of my favourites, boats. So what's different about this video? Well, I'm going to do 4 boats on a beach, but we're going to break the process down into 3 steps. So yeah, the reason why I'm simplifying, or trying to simplify the process in my head, is so that it doesn't seem intimidating. It seems a lot more straightforward almost to sort of, to come up with. Now this isn't the right way, as with all my videos, they're never the right way, they're just a way, or the way that I'm doing it at the moment, and those things change over time. Anyway, should we crack on, because I'm rambling. I do tend to ramble. Let's go for it. So at this stage we are simplifying and we are drawing. So when you're laying out this sort of initial boat drawing, what I was looking at here was very much the size of, or the ratio, if you know what I mean, on the tablet of how high is the horizon up, how high is it, is it halfway up or is it a quarter of the way up? But what I'm showing you here is something I don't think I've ever showed you before, is how you can sort of measure it and figure out the proportions sort of mathematically. And one of the advantages of using a ruler, particularly if it's got a set square on the end, is you can make sure that your horizon lines are vaguely, horizontal, which is really quite useful. So when it comes to laying out the boats, really, it's just a case of making sure that they're vaguely spaced. So if you look at the reference picture, you can see that each one is about the same size, really, that one's slightly taller than another. But you just have to make sure that you have vaguely enough space for all the boats. Now, how I started this one is I just put in I made a few dots on the paper. I don't think you can necessarily even see them, and just marked in where vaguely the fronts of the boats were, and then did some rough marks to show the sides, and then slowly just filled in the details. So you start with, as always, you could draw everything inside a box. But yeah, so you create a space and then you fill in the details within that space. Okay, so I'm using a 0.1 fine liner here, and the reason why I'm using such a thin fine liner is because, this is quite a small piece. This is only, I think it's a 5x7 with a big amount on, but the actual piece of paper I'm working on is 5x7. So that's not very big. So you don't necessarily want to start off with a very thick line. You want to start off with a thin line, and then a thin fine liner or a fine fountain pen, and then work up to bigger pens as you need, unless you're going for something really stylized, unless you want to do some big, thick, sort of gestural, interesting lines. I'd always probably recommend you start off with some thinner lines, and it gives you just a little bit more control. So that's pretty much most of the ink done there. So the next stage is, because I'm going to be using, there's going to be lines running horizontally behind the boats to create the waves. The easiest way to create the water which is laying behind the boat, is to mask off the boats themselves. And that's easier done with, I think, with masking fluid. Okay, well, this is a tip I don't think I've ever shown you before. If you're having trouble mixing a colour, or if you just want to practice doing it this way, you can actually get a clean, I would recommend you clean your palette before you do this. And then what you can do is you can mix onto the palette using the tablet as a reference, and that will give you a direct sort of correlation, so that when you actually put paint on the paper, it is going to be vaguely what you want. So what I'm showing you here is just, I'm pre-wetting the paper before I actually apply the paint. Now there's a couple of reasons for this. One of them is, if you get a little bit of moisture into the water, it tends to give you an even covering. But the second reason, which is something I've only actually learned about recently, is there's this thing called sizing. Now sizing is a coating that often is on the outside of a piece of paper as a result of the way that the paper is made, and that sizing can often stop. It's very confusing because sizing obviously sounds like it's an indication of the size of the paper, but the sizing, which is this coating, can stop the paint being absorbed in so well. So often if you're doing a large wash and you want a really smooth covering of paint, pre-wetting it is good from a moisture point of view, but it also helps to get rid of this coating that can often be on the outside. Now, some people recommend that you wet it, wait a minute, and then dry it, and then wet it again. But to be honest with you, I've tried that with most paper, and then I've tried it the other way, and there isn't a big difference. Okay, so here we're using a little bit of cobalt blue here and a little mixture of a slightly more sort of royal blue, really. And I'm going to use that for doing the top coat, or the sort of highlight layer, if you will, of the sea. And just like the sand that I did before, this is going to make up the lightest layer. Now, what you haven't seen here is I didn't hair dry, but I let that rest a little bit before I put this layer on here. So this is like a layer 2 of the water. And the reason you're going to be doing this is primarily, I think, to show waves. So it's realistic, water rarely looks that flat, but it also helps to explain distance. So another cheeky little hair dry, and then I'm gonna so that gives us one sort of layer in the sea, and then I'm just going to go back and just do another layer just to accentuate those waves a little bit. I just didn't think they really had enough sort of punch to them. So I've done the base layer there of the rocks, which are like the highlight areas, and then here I'm going to go and put a layer in for the shadow on the beach, as well as actually do some small details on the sand. The little lumps and bumps and divots and things you sometimes get on a beach, they're going to show up again as like little dots or little shapes. Try and get some more horizontal elements to them rather than sort of vertical, because you are on a flat surface like the sea. Waves on a beach tend to be linear, rather than sort of vertical. So do try and get some horizontal feel to some of those marks. So then once that's hair dried a little bit, we're going to go in and add some of the shadow texture detail within the shadow. I think the rocks on the right hand side particularly were really fun to do on this one. So it looks a bit clunky there, but I think often there's an ugly stage that, ugly is the wrong word, but there's a kind of a slightly gangly phase that pictures go through, a little bit like humans. There's a phase where they're all a bit out of proportion before they become like fully grown. So really that's the sort of majority of the background done, so it's time to start working on those boats now. So as you can see in this bit slightly closer up view, the boats are going to need probably at least 2 layers. Most of the time you're going to have a colour layer, and then you're going to have a shadow layer. So that's one layer of the painting on the boats done. As you can see, there's a lot of layers on this picture. I mean, it's, for all that I've broken it down obviously into 3 simple sort of ways of viewing it, if you know what I mean, 3 simple stages. The colouring stage for this one is particularly, well, not particularly intensive, because it's no more intensive than a lot of normal watercolour pictures, but it's there's a few bits and bobs to a few stages to it. And again, remember with watercolour, you always have to go a little bit too contrasty with the shadows, because when it dries, it loses a little bit of that intensity. I've just chosen to do the gunnels, which is the bit around the top of the boat, the sort of wooden strip that runs around the edge and top of the boat, as with fine liner, because it was actually a little bit too narrow almost to to paint. And then also I've added a bit of a thicker line around the edge of the boat, and then gone in with a very thin grey fine liner just to do a tiny little bit of more detail shadows bit. The rocks in the foreground, those little rocks over there, ended up looking lovely. So adding just a few little highlights here and there. So because these were being sold, obviously, for Cancer Research UK, I actually mounted them, and it's amazing the difference. Quite a simple little humble drawing is when it's mounted up. It looks so much more. It looks so cool. I think that white space around it really makes the colours pop. I mean, that's the point of mounts, isn't it? So there you go. We can have some close-ups and look at the water in the sea behind the boats, and the way that the waves get bigger as they get closer to the shore. Some of those little rocks in the far left, and then maybe towards the far right we can have a look at those little rocks there. They're really cool, I like those. And then the boats and the beach itself. The key to this one is probably making sure the shape of all those boats is, is kind of vaguely accurate, but so yeah, I think that worked out really well. I mean, one of the things I might, in retrospect, have done is put a little bit of colour on the mast on the right-hand side, because it looks like it's just a bit unfinished, a tiny little bit of grey or something on that mast might have helped that. But genuinely, I think it worked out really well. So I hope you enjoyed that. There's a lot of stages there, but as I said before, there's only 3 stages to all these drawings, but unfortunately the colouring stage tends to be multifaceted. It tends, because of the layer of the amount of glazing and layering that you tend to do in watercolour. All right, I'll give you back to the other bloke. So I hope you enjoyed that. Do you like my blazer, by the way? This is from the local charity shop, which I believe Americans might refer to as Goodwill. Yeah, it's like £12. Label. I've got the thing all mixed up. I'm not quite sure it goes with the hoodie, but I like it. Right, anyway, stick to the point. So I hope you enjoyed that, and the reference picture is linked in the description, because it was originally a Boattober reference picture. Now, if you don't know what Boattober is, where have you been? There's a lot of stuff on my website about it, and it's a little thing that I invented, the drawing challenge, but there's also some videos coming up about this year's Boattober, where I review all the sketches and things like that. But anyway, I digress once more. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. As always, like, subscribe, helps the channel, free, and loads more stuff for patrons. Check out descriptions. Right, what am I doing now? I'm going to go and start another demo now about water. And I've no idea how it's going to go, as always. You'd be surprised how many of these I start and I just disregard, because I think they don't make a lot of sense, or I think I can do them better. It may seem to you guys like this is a pretty weird rambling channel, quite disintegrated and like, what is this man talking about? But this is me doing really well. So I'm going to go now because I'm waffling. Ciao.